Hello, and thank you for joining us at No Soundbites Allowed. I am your host, Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. I'm with you today to follow up on a story that we had been talking about earlier this morning. Roughly at about 4 a.m., news media started reporting on riots that had occurred in Minnesota on Sunday. And that was due to the shooting of a young black man in an incident with police. At 4 a.m., Newsweek started reporting on this. At about 6:30 a.m., we had received a call to make us aware of this breaking news that was sweeping the nation and social media. We then researched that story as best as we could on all available information at that time. And then at approximately 8:45 this morning, April 12th, we came out with our report on that, which was the Dante Wright Media Picks Air Freshener over Don't Run. Now, we want to be very clear. We were talking in that video about the repercussion of resisting police arrest and also saying that the media was using incidents like this to sensationalize the situation, to amplify emotions, and to take advantage of that so that they could gain eyeballs. That there was a need for calm, that rioting is never a good answer for these kind of situations, and that it is in fact a crime, and that we need to calm down and find out more details, and that there was a body cam police video that could provide us with answers that no one had at that time. That's what we were speaking about this morning, and we thought it was very important. To summarize and to show you, we had said very clearly in this morning's video, there isn't a lot of information right now. There is a lot of emotion right now, and people are capitalizing on that for their advantage, which may not be justified. In fact, we would say rioting, no matter what the underlying cause, is a crime and is not justified. It only harms communities. It only harms individuals. It is not a solution. Protest, peaceful protest, is a First Amendment right. It is something guaranteed for all Americans, and we would never suggest anyone should not protest for any reason they wish. But violence is not protest. Rioting is not protest, and they should never be confused as being the same thing, and they are. And so that's what we had said, and you can see the video for yourself in full. That was the information at 8:45 a.m., and we stand by what we said at that time. Protests are not riots. Riots are violent. They destroy communities. They destroy lives. They potentially have led to people being killed. They are outrageous explosions of emotion. And when we have sensitive situations going on in our nation, we can't afford riots. We stand by that. We say that no matter what the cause is for that riot. And we denounce those riots, and we denounce those who did riot. Not the protesters, but those who committed the crimes of rioting that destroyed 20 businesses in a community that is now shaken, that is politically, emotionally divided. And this has been only furthered by the actions of news media and politicians like Governor Tim Walz, who at 4:10 a.m., according to Newsweek, as we cited earlier today, this is an article from 4:10 a.m. when no information was really known and the police video had yet to be seen. And it was Governor Tim Walz who said that he was monitoring the situation closely and that he was praying for the family, Dante Wright's family, and the state was mourning another life of a black man taken by law enforcement. That is an emotional statement, a statement that only serves the purpose of inciting and enraging individuals. He said that at 11 p.m. Sunday night. Riots took place on Sunday. Businesses were destroyed. People's livelihoods were endangered. The community, both in its economics as well as its social fabric, has been disrupted. He did nothing to help that situation. He inflamed it and made it worse. And Newsweek, for its part, further inflamed the situation on a national level. And we say that because at 6:41 a.m., as we showed you in the earlier video, they started off by putting out this opening paragraph. Dante Wright, a 20-year-old black man who was shot by an officer in Minneapolis before crashing his car a few blocks after, had an outstanding warrant for his arrest, and then went on to highlight and feature the statements of a grieving mother who had just lost her son. That is an emotional manipulation. It is meant to grab eyeballs, to make people have an emotional reaction, and to seek out this news station to try and isolate themselves from others also using the same kind of techniques. This also does not help. It divides the nation. It divides individuals based on race and politics and economics, and creates a further division, of further tearing of our social fabric. And we denounce that. We denounce that fully and wholeheartedly. Now, that's not to say that Mr. Wright was not without his own errors in this, because Mr. Wright did make a critical mistake. He went and he had, he resisted arrest. He tried to escape from police. He created a situation that gave the opportunity for an enhancement of danger, of risk, of potential harm. It was the wrong thing to do. Now, we want to be very clear, because the video did come out now, and we are able to see the details of what happened. And that's what we had asked for this morning, and now we're able to see in part what happened. Now, we can't show the entire video because of the regulations of YouTube, and we're sure our channel will be wiped if we show it all. But we do want to show you this video so you can see it for yourself, in part at least. I have to stop it there. But what's key is you just heard the officer who has, this is her body cam, and you can see that she's pulled out a weapon at this point. Because Dante Wright had resisted, had re-entered the vehicle, and was trying to escape from police officers, the situation had escalated. And we see that an officer has pulled out a weapon, saying, "I'll tase you," and then goes on very shortly after this video, this moment in the video, to say, "Taser, taser, taser," an indication for police officers that a taser is about to be fired. But in fact, that officer has pulled their service pistol, their firearm, an actual gun. Now, it is because of that that we heard that the police commissioner stated that this was an accident. This was a terrible, horrible accident. And that's why Dante Wright was shot. And that's been reported by multiple news media. He had a press conference on this, stating that in viewing this, in seeing this, he believes that this was an accident, that the firearm was pulled by accident instead of a taser. And I know for many people, like myself, that it's brought up images and messages of Oscar Grant when it was stated at that time that Oscar Grant had been murdered by accident, that Officer Mercilessly had taken out his taser, thought he had taken his taser when he shot Oscar Grant in the back. But we saw the video. That was not the case. It wasn't an innocent man not resisting arrest. Is this an excuse? Absolutely not. And we do believe, as we did in the case with Officer Mercilessly, we would say to you right now that this officer who pulled their firearm, their service pistol, and used that should be brought up on charges. Yes, it was an accident. Yes, they seem to have thought in the commotion and in the emergency, the rush, that they grabbed the wrong firearm. But that's why officers are trained. They are trained to not make that mistake. And tasers are not the same as the service pistol, the 9mm, the Glock. There is a difference. They should have noticed that difference, and they should have reacted differently. But that doesn't excuse what happened. They fired their firearm, and a man died. This is serious. They need to be held accountable for that. Even though we can understand the accident and we can understand what happened, they're trained better than that. At the same time, we do not excuse Dante Wright for what he did. He created the environment in which this accident took place. All he had to do was go to the police station. All he had to do was be served the warrant and be arrested, and then he may have been released. He certainly would still be alive. We have to be honest with ourselves. We know we've already been called racist today. We've already been told that we're all kinds of racial vulgarities. But the facts are the facts. What happened, this accident, as we see in the video, does not justify the riots that took place. The massive number of lives who are now affected permanently on a daily basis because of this, an accident. We can't excuse that Dante Wright made the wrong choice when he decided that he wanted to flee from police for crimes that he had committed previously, and that he was trying to escape justice. That is a fact. Whether you like it or not, it's true. And he made the wrong choice. He escalated the situation. And that officer, she made the wrong choice. She failed in her training. She made a mistake as well and needs to be held accountable. Cool heads need to prevail. We know failures happened on several levels. Our politicians failed. The news media failed. In this case, Dante Wright and the police failed. And the accumulation of all of these failures have led to riots and a person's death, and someone who must live with that accidental death that they caused. None of that is easy. But if we are being fair and we look at it from these facts, our nation needs to try and heal, to calm down, and to live together and understand that we need details, we need facts before we have emotional outbursts. And we need to teach our children better to respect law enforcement rather than to run from them, rather than escalating the situation and fighting with police officers, which then causes the potential for some other danger. Police aren't always right. They aren't always wrong. But escalating the situation doesn't help anyone. And our officers may need more training. Obviously, that officer did. She made a bad choice. We need to hold her accountable to that, but we also need to understand all of the factors that led to this tragedy. We're following up today not because it's sensational, not because we're trying to get eyeballs, but we're trying to reinforce the message that we sent out this morning and something that we're not seeing the rest of the news media do. And that is to calmly say, here's where everything failed, socially, personally, and with our law enforcement. Here are the things we can do better going forward so that we don't have to have this incident again. And it's not just the law enforcement. It's not just individuals like Dante Wright. It's not just the protesters and rioters and our politicians and our news media. All of these various factors have to work together so that we don't have this happen again. You can't get a better solution when everyone isn't trying to get to that better solution. And that's why we're doing this video right now, to emphasize that we need to all work together in all of our various aspects to get to a better solution. And we need more in the news media to say that, or at least to be honest enough to give us the full details, a clear situation, rather than jumping the gun and making inflammatory comments like we saw with Newsweek. Now, you may not disagree. You may not agree with us. You may disagree. You may feel that this is racially motivated. That is your right. You may think that we are insensitive. That is a misunderstanding, but it is your right. And some may think that we are some kind of racist, phobe, whatever. That again is your right to believe that, even though it is incorrect. But that doesn't change the message that we are trying to put out there, and we hope is clear for people, because it needs to be clear for our entire society, for the future. On all levels, we need to be working together towards the same solution. And that solution takes all of us. You may disagree with everything else. I don't think you would disagree with that answer. But we look forward to hearing your comments. And we look forward to speaking with you again very soon.